Coming up on today's CodeBet Daily, we are taking through a whole mess of sports. There is so much to cover here, Alex. It's ridiculous. What are you looking at?
Looking at the AFL, some EPL, and somehow I get through the show with my computer going on and off throughout. If you're watching it on YouTube, enjoy. It is a schmozzle.
I like it. I've got the dog interrupting as well, but I'm talking about NBA playoffs and AFL, NRL, everything in between. It's got a lot going on. We've got player props, game picks, best bets. That's what we do. It's CodeBet Daily. It's really good. Welcome to CodeBet Daily. It is Tuesday, May 23. All day. That's right. It's episode 115 of this here Schmozzle. I am your host, Jaymz Clements. I'm the editor of a very good website. It's called CodeBet. You can find it at codebet.com.au. That's usually what happens when you go to look at a website. I'm joined, as always, by one of the what's your title? CodeBet content creator?
Yeah, I know, but I'm looking for executive vice president of content creation. I want that word executive in there because it's important, but I actually do nothing executive wise.
That checks out.
Yeah,
I like it.
Make it cool for the LinkedIn. Checks
out. Good stuff. That's Alex Donnelly over there. We are, I don't know, just a couple of dudes who talk a bunch about betting each day.
Yeah.
Because Stats Guy isn't here because he's off gallivanting around.
He's eating pizza in New York, so he's made it to New York. So,
oh, really? I got to send him some New York tips.
Good for Stats Guy. He actually listened to me. I said, go to this place to get pizza. Apparently it's awesome. And he went there. So good job, Stats Guy.
Yeah, my cardinal rule is I don't wait for anything. And so many of the good pizza places in New York are like, hey, you got to wait. I'm like, the level of good pizza, I'm like, here to like, I have to wait for it. Get out of here. I'm not. The best pizza I ever had was like 3:30 in the morning from the horrible little cafe across the road from our apartment, where it's like the size of your head. They roll it back through the heater, and I'm like just off chops, just like, oh my god, this pizza is going to be great, and it was the greatest piece of pizza I'd ever had. So simple as that. There was also the great artichoke pizzas that you can get over there, which are absolute chaos. Don't knock it till you tried it. Just saying. This is Code Pizza Daily, where we rank pizzas day in, day out. Apparently. No, this is Code Betting Daily. Code Bet Daily. That's what we do. Codes, betting, and daily. We've got player props, game picks, best bets. That's what we do. Usually.
Sometimes.
Flying today. My foot is so sore.
Yes. Yeah, I like how me bagging you. I was like, hey, Jim, I'm going to go for a walk because it's sunny outside and I want to get some steps. And you're like, oh, man, that sucks.
I wish I could walk. That's where I'm at this point. It's like I wish I could go outside. It's not even that. I wish I could walk. Like I'm basically on the couch or on the at the desk. What are we looking at today? I'm going to be just absolutely pummeling this insanely fantastic, weird, wild, and wacky Game 4 of the Celtics and the Heat in the NBA, which is pretty weird, pretty fun. I might throw a quick NRL look in there as well, just because I can. And at the end of it as well, maybe just a bit of a series bet for the NBA stuff. Just a little bit of a teaser there for you. Alex, what are you looking at today?
Sticking to the EPL and the AFL, really running thin on things for me to talk about, given the fact that all my seasons are either ending or AFL, which, because, they hate us, only runs Friday to Sunday.
Well, we get Thursday footy back next week, don't we?
Next week or the week after, something like that. Yeah, but they only do it for like another 5 weeks. So hopefully next year, every week, Thursday night footy. Give us what we want.
I think you should just become like, I don't know, a handball expert or something like that. Checks out.
Yeah, true. Can I bet on wrestling yet? Can I do that? There's a pay-per-view next Monday. I could talk about that for 3 hours.
Right, let's get into it. Player props, easy one. So tomorrow is fascinating. I mentioned this, right? Right at the top, just there. Miami, Boston. Alex, Miami are up 3-0 in this series. What does that tell you?
I find it hilarious. Boston seemingly choking and doing the exact opposite of what they should do and look like a dumpster fire when it kind of matters.
That's exactly right. I think the biggest concern for me is I would come into this game usually going, oh, well, they've got to have a bit of pride. They'll have a bit of pride and fight back. But what we saw in Game 3 doesn't exactly scream that. I'll get to that later.
They were broken.
They really did. The thing is, with this, it's obviously an elimination game. This is Jimmy Butler in a closeout game. You know what Jimmy Butler's going to do? He's going to do what Jimmy Butler does, which is what
Jimmy Butler does. Jimmy Buckets?
He's going to turn into Jimmy Buckets. That's all right. He's going to be absolutely gnarly. Closeout time. He's over-under on points scored is 27.5. I love that because I'm going to get to this. I don't actually think there is a very, very easy case to be made for Miami not winning this game which literally they just need one game where they have cold shooting and Jimmy Butler's the only guy who scores. This could easily be that game. But the over-under on his points, very easily go the over with the 27.5. He had a pretty quiet Game 3. They didn't need him to do too much. He stepped up and hit a couple of massive buckets. That's what Jimmy Buckets does. when needed. But the more interesting one for me is like how much extra can he do? Is he going to go through? Is he going to do the LeBron what we might see today, the empty the clip game, and the 45 plus points, rebounds, assists for Butler is actually at $2.35. I actually like that a little bit more. I feel like there's this game where he can easily get to like 32 points, 8 rebounds, sort of that 7-8 assist mark, and he clears it, and away we go. Right, so that's a little bit better value for the $2.35. But at the same time, if you don't think that the points, rebounds will be there, the rebounds, assists will be there, that points over feels like a big one to me because I think if his mates on the Heat go a little bit quiet, and then boom, off they go. The Tatum bounce back game. He was horrible in game 3. He's the bloke who scored 51 in game 7, Alex. 51. He turns around, he's like, oh, geez. Yeah, this one's a bit tough. Now we're down 3-0, bro. It's like, come on, Jason Tatum. You're meant to be like all NBA, top 5 player in the NBA. What's going on? Over 30.5 points for this one. I actually like this. $1.90 with Bet365. Yes, mate. Please hook that one to my veins because Jaylen Brown, look, he looks a little bit banged up. Can't hit a shot to save his life. Ideally, you go, well, Jaylen Brown's really, really, really talented. He's definitely going to have a bounce back spot. He'll be laughing. Nah. I think he's just too banged up. I think his shoulder's busted. He's got a sore wrist. He can't dribble. I'm going to rely on Jason Tatum to get me there. And I think the over 30.5 is no problems there. But then you've also got a couple of other Boston Celtics that I want to throw at because this is all leading up to my later point. This is just good podcasting, I reckon. Brogdon was horrible. Absolutely horrible was El Presidente. He has been the steadying force of that Boston Celtics bench all season. He went 0 of 6. Ugh, gross in game 3. He does also have these moments where he's like, am I the best player on this floor? And most of the time he's not. They're like, Malcolm, just settle down, mate. Just stay in your lane, you're fine. Marcus Smart's another bloke who goes, I am definitely the best player on this floor. And it's like, dude, there's like 4 dudes better than you. What are you doing? Settle down. But Brogdon, over 13.5 points is $1.95. I really like that. He averaged 14 points all season and has had some really good games where he's been like this spark plug off the bench against the Heat. Last series against the Sixers, he had some like actually sort of pretty big scoring explosions. And for him to go just the OFA in game 3 was really out of character. So I think it's a big bounce back spot for Brogdon. And I mentioned Smart. He's been playing within himself. He also sort of looks injured, but I don't actually mind the idea of him launching a couple more threes and getting to like that 15-odd point mark tomorrow. If Jaylen Brown's not going to help out, then it's going to be up to Smart, Brogdon, and co. Smart, 12.5 points. That's $1.80 over. Love it. So there you go. I think this is a bit of a hashtag spoiler alert there, Alex. This is kind of leading to me going, I think Boston might win this.
Yeah, no, I think I can pick up what you're throwing down there.
But this is all, what it's about is value and the simple idea of like the Heat. If they're going to go absolutely hammer and tongs from 3 again, there's nothing you can do about it. But the fact that Boston is so underpriced at this point, down 3-0, if they actually just come out and win it, there's actually a bit of value to be found. So what about your player props for 2, whatever you're looking at?
Yeah, so having a look towards Friday night and some self-hatred on behalf of you and I with the Sydney Swans and Carlton doing, I wouldn't say battle because they don't really do that. They're going to try. They're going to try. Good luck to both teams.
Carlton battle in the same way that I would get in a schoolyard fight in high school. I'd be giving them crap, just like running my mouth, because that's what I do in a surprise twist. You can probably see that. And then I dance around, try not to get hit and wait for a teacher to rock up. That's how I play footy. Simple as that. They're like, help! I need an adult! I don't want to get my head kicked in. Yeah. Ah! And then you run, and away you go. That's how Carlton play footy.
See, I'm old mate out the back waiting for a cheap kick. That's all I'm doing. Just cheap kicks all day.
I'm flying over the top. I'm the hero!
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everyone loves the hero spot. Anyway, looking at 2 of the power forwards playing in this game this week, because it's one thing that I love. It's power forwards. Speaking of one, is he the current? Yeah, he's the current Coleman medalist. I think he is. Charlie Curnow. He's got one anyway. He kicked 6 against the Swans last year and looked like Jesus. He was God and everything wrapped up in one. He bombed one from 60, and I'm like, you can't do that. You honestly can't do that, because he dead set turned around and did it off one step, and it went through it post height, and everyone at Carlton went mad, and they still nearly lost that game. It was quite hilarious, actually. I was just in torture of that whole game. Anyway,
that was the game. I refused to watch that game last year.
It was an awesome game. If you're a neutral, it was one of the games of the year. As a Swans fan, I absolutely hated it and wanted nothing to do with it.
Yeah, it was the Carlton game where you're like, they always lose to Sydney. If they pull it out, we might actually be a chance to make the finals, and they did. And I think they backed it up. Like they played Fremantle or something like a couple of weeks later. And so there was like that weird little run of where Carlton looked okay for just that little bit of time. And you're like, hang on a second, what's going on here? And we never beat Sydney. And it was basically this exact same time last year, wasn't it? It was like late.
It was the middle of it was the middle of May. I reckon it was about around 8 or 9, if I'm thinking that off the top of my head, but I can't really remember. But anyway, you won by a couple of goals. But yeah, so Charlie kicked 6 that night. But before that, he'd only had 7 goals in 5 games against the Swans. And then you have a look at his record: 5 goals in 3 games at the SCG for 3 losses as well. But I'm having a look at him to kick 3+ because Swans have no backline. That's what I've been saying for the last month. Charlie was great against Darcy Moore. That was awesome. Despite Darcy Moore having 47,852 intercept marks, Charlie still kicked 3 and probably could have had more with some better delivery. So looking at him to kick a couple of goals, maybe Tom McCartan's back, but 3+ is $1.62 and 4+ is $2.20. I think the market kind of thinks, oh yeah, Carlton are really good and Sydney aren't, but it's like, yeah, they both stink. So it depends if Carlton's midfield are going to get on top of the Swans and so on and so forth. But then we look to the Swans forward line. Lance Franklin, as my screen dies, so I'm going to have to whip out my phone on this. This is great. How good's podcasting? I think Buddy's going to take on Wiedering, and he's not in great form. Bud looked good on the weekend, took a bunch of marks against Harry's brother Ben, and got up the ground, actually got some air and made some good tackles. So it feels as if he got off his deathbed against Freo, found some form, kicked 3, and looked. You hear the thump when they kick the football and they're in form, and you heard the thump when Buddy kicked it. Look, 19 games against Carlton. Buddy is 16-3. He's kicked 73 goals against Carlton at an average of 3.84 a game. In the SCG, he averages 3.27. All that is telling me is to take the $2.80 for Lance Buddy Franklin to kick 3 or more goals against Jacob Wiedering on the weekend, or Friday night.
That checks out. They played in round 10 last year, 20th of May.
Yeah, there we go.
It's literally the same time, basically. But we're going into round 11 this week, so pretty weird. Yeah, Buddy has always had a, burr in his bonnet about Carlton for some reason, and away we go. So looking forward to watching him absolutely demolish us at the SCG. The other thing as well, right? I think they played a Marvel last year.
Yeah, it was a Marvel. So you've lost. I think you've lost your last 3 at the SCG against the Swans, but the Swans have also lost their last 3 at the SCG.
Yep, checks out. All right, time for the match and or game picks. I don't want to see this game on Friday. I'm just already hurting my soul.
I'm going to the pub. I can't wait. Half-price food apparently all game for this thing that I've got booked, so that's going to make me feel better about myself.
Nice one. If it's half price, does it mean it's half as good? I'm curious.
The game's going to be half as good anyway.
Tough scenes over there. Game 4, Celtics Heat. This is my game pick. Obviously, the under is where I'm going again. I feel like if this is the game that the Celtics win, they don't win a shootout. It's simple as that. We've seen Miami absolutely demolish the Bucks. We've seen them just absolutely hammering tongs all over Boston the first 3 games. The only way Boston can win is if their defense is actually just going to step up for one game and Miami go a bit ice cold. We saw this happen against the Knicks in the second round for Miami, where they weren't just lighting it all on fire, and Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo just dominated the entire series anyway. And they got just enough out of those role players. But I think this is the thing. It has to be defense first for Boston, because if you let Miami have an inch, they'll take a mile. And that's what they'll do offensively, and defensively, they'll just run rings around you. The thing is, if this Boston team is actually a broken team, which is what it looked like in game 3, then really I can't imagine that they're going to step up with a massive defensive effort to try to come back from 3-0 down, which no team's ever done in a 149 playoff series. But
that seems bad.
It does. In terms of if there is a 0 in front of the next number, which is 149, your odds aren't great. Simple as that, right? But there's actually a weird one when it comes down to teams that are 0-3 down. I think 3 ever have even forced a game 7, let alone won the series. So, pretty crazy, pretty wild. But the only way the Celtics do this, as said, is with defense. So I'm going the under 216. That gives you enough sort of breadth and width, I guess, if the Celtics still score enough and get to that 116 mark, and they just hold Miami to around 100 if Miami aren't scoring enough.
Yep.
And Miami have had those games. I mean, as I said, with the second series, right? The second was it the East semis, and you have those moments of Miami shouldn't be lighting it up. They're not that talented. They've got 7 undrafted dudes on this squad, but they beat the Knicks 96-92. They lost 112-103 in game 5. I think that was an MSG. And that was that simple idea of like, yeah, the Knicks just limited the Heat's opportunities and they won it 112-103. And that's the exact sort of game Boston's going to have to win this one. And I think that's what will happen. There were a bunch of other ones. I think they lost 111-105 as well. The thing is, the weird tough part about that Knicks series is that it was those 2 games they lost were an MSG. So This one's at home. The tricky part, again, I'll get to this in the line bet, but the Heat weren't great at home this year, whereas the Celtics were really good on the road. So, again, we'll lean into that. So, there you go. I'm going the under 216.5. And another quick one for a bit of NRL. I think the Thursday night game this week is Dolphins-Dragons, which is fascinating because the Dragons came out of nowhere last week to beat your beloved Roosters, didn't they?
New coach bump, baby.
Exactly. And
as predicted, we were like, oh, yeah, the Dragons will cover and the Roosters kind of stink. And then if you watch the last 5, just go watch the last 5 minutes on KO or wherever you can. It's chaos. Utter chaos.
Yeah, I love it. And so Dolphins defensively, not great. Dragons defensively, not great. Both can score points. I'm going the over in this one. It's 42.5. I'm like, ooh, just screaming at me, go, Jim, here it is. $1.90 with Ladbrokes at the moment, over 42.5. Bang. I'm all over that one. How about you for a match/game pick, Alex?
Going to Thursday morning, Brighton and Manchester City playing in the EPL. As we saw this morning, Newcastle played not to lose given results had gone their way over the weekend. They only needed 1 point to play in the Champions League, and they got it. Kind of a boring game. Don't watch the replay. It was terrible. I watched it. It was really hard to watch. But side note, Leicester getting that point makes this weekend a lot more spicier. Everton on 33. Leicester and Leeds both on 31 points. If Leicester win and Everton draw this weekend, Everton will go down due to goal difference.
Tough.
For Leeds need to win by 4 or more if Everton draw and Leicester just don't win. So that is how that can all play out over the weekend. So it's like, basically for Leeds is like, we need to score like thousands of goals. Just go out and just shoot. They're
going to win by 4 or more.
Yeah, they've just got to jam the circle button on the PlayStation controller and just all-out attack.
Turbo! Press the turbo!
Exactly, literally. But anyway, back to this game. Brighton have to win to give themselves a hope of playing Europa League. They're already guaranteed European football. They can play the Conference League, which means they may have to play Club Bruges' sister club somewhere in Azerbaijan. So that's how the Conference League is. It's the middle of nowhere. You kind of don't want to play it, but anyway, you win this, you're like, ooh, we can get to the Europa League, which is good because if you win the Europa League, get the Champions League and Europa League's just that little bit better.
Yep.
City, they're still going to be drunk. They won the EPL on the weekend. Like, honestly, this game in the scheme of things means absolutely nothing because all they're talking about now is getting the treble, which is the FA Cup and the Champions League along with the EPL title. So for them, nothing to play for, and it's just like, oh yeah, we can send out our third team or whatever again. But then you look at this. Brighton in the last 11 games between the two have allowed 33 goals past the goalkeeper by Manchester City. Just a nice even average of 3. And then you throw in the last 4 games at the Amex, Manchester City have scored 15 goals. So not great.
In 4 games?
Yeah, 15 goals in 4 games. Not great. But with that being said, given everything to play for, nothing to lose, City, nothing to gain, no one cares. Brighton to win head-to-head, #nice at $4.20. But Brighton will draw at $2 with that double chance market. They're going to throw everything at this game, and I see them doing that. It's like, late in the season, it's like they got nothing to play for, City. They've won. This midweek game is more of a distraction. It's about not having main players get injured before the FA Cup and the Champions League for now, really.
And it's a fascinating setup because usually to go, well, if Man City just rolled out their third team, they'd still beat most teams. But this is Brighton are actually pretty good. So
yeah,
it's like that sort of tricky one where you go, the Brighton will draw sort of screams pretty loudly at me. Because you've made a pretty good case there. That's good.
Despite the fact City just keeps scoring goals. Also, check out your papers tomorrow for the full breakdown or code bet later this afternoon.
Nice one. Right, best bets for today, tomorrow, whenever. So I've gone back and forth on this, and I'll be writing about this for tomorrow, well, later today for the site, and a little thing for the paper about this Celtics Heat game. And we hit on it, I think, in the Lakers Nuggets one. So what's the human nature aspect of this? And it's not I'll be there. Bloody human nature.
So not to the moon and back.
Nice. That's Savage Garden. So,
oh yeah, it is too. Damn it. Yeah. Good song though.
It worries me how quickly I picked up on that. It's almost like I was a music journalist for many years. Anyway, the vibe on this is human nature. Why? We saw a broken team in game 3. Do Celtics have a little bit of pride? They know that their coach is probably going to get fired if they don't. If they get swept, Joey Muzz is out of there, right? The work experience kid coach. I'll love you, Jason. I love you, man. It's like, coach, can you just drop a play? Oh, nah. My play is I love you, bros. It's like, this guy sucks. He stinks. And I think there's this one point where this Boston team has been together for a while now. Like, everyone's just like dead and buried. Just like, pack her up, boys. They're done. We'll trade Jaylen Brown. It's all over. This is exactly where the Celtics will turn it around and absolutely punk their fans, win this game, win game 5 back in Boston, and then lose game 6 in Miami and lose 4-2. The thing is, if you like them to win this game, if there's ever going to be a situation where you're down 3-0, and just bear with me here, Alex, because it's a bit improbable. No one's ever done it in basketball. 3-0 down, 149 times. It's never happened. As I said, it's very rare that you even get a game 7. It's very rare you even get a game 6 because that's human nature, right? No one's ever done it before. It's really hard to come back from 3-0.
I mean, I saw the Elite beat the Mexican Luchadors 4-3 after being down 3-0 earlier this year. So it can be done.
I like it. But it's just so tough. Like, to force a game 6, it barely happens, right? It's absolutely crazy how little it happens. But you look at the talent disparity and the way that these two teams were priced coming in this series. Like, Miami were huge underdogs. They had a 3% chance of winning it, according to all the stats and all that sort of stuff. 97% chance for the Celtics. If there was one team, if their threes just started falling and they kicked their defense back into gear, they could come back from 3-0 against a team that we've seen all season stink from 3, all season. And then the weird 3-point differential, this stat is incredible to me, that between Boston and Miami, the 3-point differential, when Boston shooters are wide open in this series versus the way that the Miami shooters are shooting when wide open, is horrifying. It's 33% for the Celtics across 4 to 6 feet of being open or wide open. Both 33%. For the Heat, it's 54 and 59. Like, they're just knocking in shots. If that dips a little bit, Boston have got a chance. And if you reckon they can win game 4, it's probably worth just going, well, what are they for this series? The fact that it's only $9 angers me, Alex. $9?
Yeah, but you think about what are they going to start betting favourite in all 4 games?
Well, they're actually underdogs in this one. That's what I'm about to say.
Because I was going to say the multi of them being like, $1.80, $1.80, $1.80. It's like, what does it equate to,
Exactly. But they are underdogs in this one, plus 1.5, the under as well with the 216. But really, $9 is the best price I could find with our partner. So $9 with BetR. And it did sort of fluctuate between $7, $8, $8.50, that sort of stuff. And it's like, nobody's ever done it. How is this only $9? You look at the Lakers on the other side. They're also down 3-0. They're about to play. And they're priced at like 15, 6. They've got LeBron James and Anthony Davis.
Yeah, but aren't the Nuggets just wildly better?
That's exactly right. The Nuggets are a better team than Miami. So if the one team's going to do it, it's probably the Celtics. So it's probably worth going. If you think they can win game 4, they'll probably win game 5. That way, I'd start looking at a exact series score bet, which is be 4-2 for Miami. Or the $9 for, obviously, the Boston Celtics to win the series, which is still hilarious that it's only $9 and nobody's ever done it. So if you want to look at that exact score, which is pretty fun, it really is to go, I think that'll be Miami 4-2. And we would look at it going, well, not many teams have done it. No one, I think one team did it last year, came back from that sort of degree. But I had it up on Bet365. Let's have a look at these futures. And I believe series correct score, we have Miami Heat 4-2. That's $5.50. That's way better value. So I'll be jumping on that one, and away we go. But I still think Boston can win this one. 1.5 point underdogs, plus 1.5 in the under. That's your play. Alex, what about you?
Yeah, I'm having a look at another top 4 market as we talked about yesterday with Port Adelaide to make it. I'm looking at a team to miss it. That's the Geelong Cats, who are currently even money. I was kind of surprised that they were this priced to miss the top 4, given They're 5-5 at the moment.
Right.
I think it's just like everyone's like, oh, yeah, it's Geelong. They'll win 15 in a row or whatever. Given there's, 14 games or 13 games left, they can't do that. But so you just stay that. They go 13 in a row, they're going to get 18 wins. But they're the second best attacking team in the AFL, which is great, 1,017 points from 10 games. But defensively in the last couple of weeks, we've seen some cracks, Jim. What has happened in the past 2 weeks to Geelong other than the fact that they've lost both of those games?
They've been very injured, I would say.
They've been injured, but they've also had 100 points kicked against them in both games.
Didn't realise that one.
Not at all ideal, especially given one of them was Richmond and Fremantle look to be back. They've kicked 100 plus 2 weeks in a row and won both, beating the grand finalists from last year. So good for Freo. But you have a look at this sort of Geelong draw coming up. They should take care of GWS this weekend, injuries or not. You just think that they will. I know GWS have beaten Geelong and Geelong before, but it's just like, what's their records like? Something stupidly insane. Like I think the 3 teams they've lost to in the last 30 years or something dumb. 30 years is obviously a joke, but it's been like Sydney, GWS and Fremantle are the only teams to beat them in Geelong recently. It's ridiculous. But then you have a look. We've got the Western Bulldogs at Marvel, and the Western Bulldogs, they'll get your clamps out, Jim, your old clamps, and clamp them down. It'll be the most boring game ever. Don't watch it. It'll suck. Then they've got Port Adelaide and Adelaide. Hard to beat. They got Melbourne. But this one's down at Geelong, so that one's going to be really interesting. And then they travel to Sydney to play the Swans. It's like, they've just smashed their Swans a lot recently. Lost their last 2 at the SCG and had their pants pulled down both times, despite the form the Swans have been in both times. So 2 games out of the top 4 already. It's hard to see them making the ground just having a look at that next 6 weeks. If they lose 2 or 3 of them, win 2 or 3 of them, you're sort of looking at it being, they're probably 8-8, 8-7, 9-7, whatever. It's just like you don't see them doing it. If they lose 7 games, you're struggling to make top 4 because what did we say yesterday? 16 wins guarantees you top 4. Looking at this, I think Geelong will probably win that 13 or 14 range, but I don't see 16 coming their way.
It's a tricky one. They played in Buddy's 1000, didn't they, up there in Sydney?
Yes.
Yep. It's a tricky one. Like they've just been so injured, and it's just kind of weird to look at this and.
They just seem like a team that, like, if we get 5th or 6th, whatever, we're in the finals. Good luck trying to beat us when it matters.
Yeah, this is sort of like the Doldrums where they're just like, look, we'll try to win it. We'll try to win. We'll try to win. We'll try to win, but we're not worried.
Yeah.
That kind of vibe.
Like, they're absolutely going to make the top 8, but it's just like, they're not concerned. Like, teams like Collingwood and Brisbane almost look like they've got their top 4 slots sewn up. And then it's like, all right, Melbourne, Port, St Kilda, Western Bulldogs, Geelong. Like, it's just... This is what's actually making this season so fascinating. It looks so open and shut to start the year, and we're 10 weeks in, and we're like, this is insane. How good is football?
Chaos. Absolute chaos. I'll pay it. Good stuff. Right, that's it. Go Bet Daily done for today. We'll be back on deck tomorrow. Quick one. The Damien Hardwick news breaking last night. Pretty
wow.
Well, like after we're sort of going, yep, I think that might be it for Richmond in terms of finals gear, and boom. Jim is like, pack her up, boys, we're done.
He saw that set shot on Saturday night and went, you know what, I'm done. If you can't hit the target from 20 out, I'm out of here. See you, boys.
Yeah, not great.
Didn't see it coming, though, I'll be honest. Did not see that coming.
I mean, I'm just saying we'll take him at Carlton. Right, either way, that is it. Done for today. Back on deck tomorrow. And subscribe, star the shows. We've obviously got our EPL show and NRL show and the AFL show each week. I believe we've got Marcus on the EPL show this week as well. Yep. We'll have Leo with us for AFL and Phil NRL as
we'll
usual.
do EPL tomorrow afternoon, I believe. So we'll get in. There's a Friday game between Manchester United and Chelsea, so that'll get covered and Marcus can be sad all over again about Chelsea having 2 games left.
Nice one. Dig it. Check us a follow across all the socials, YouTube, FaceIG, Twitter, TikTok, and Twitch. And send any questions. We are going to start off our Mark My Multi and basically go, is this a good one? Oh, Alex, is this a good one? I don't know if this is a good one. And we'll judge your multi. So I'm going to judge your multis. You're going to judge my multis. It's going to be a schmozzle, and it's going to be fun. Either way, send in yours. Go nuts. Thanks, Alex.
Yeah, thanks, Jim. Shout out to my computer for coming back into life.
Good stuff. That's weird.
Weird show.
Thanks to Gerald for producing. Thanks to my dog for interrupting the show midway. That was pretty fun. And what do we say, Alex?
Gamble responsibly.
May all your picks come in. Happy bunting. We'll catch you tomorrow. Go Bet Daily. Out.
Chances are you're about to lose. For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website.